Town Council meeting, regular Town Council meeting of Tuesday, February 17, 2026. If you could kindly silence all cell phones, or even better, turn them off. We will begin with the invocation from Councilman Carroll.
We're thankful for this town and its residents. We're grateful for all who work for the benefit of our community and all who serve on its behalf. That those who work here and those who serve here be ever mindful of the town's vision and mission statement. Grant this council the wisdom to govern amid the conflicting interests and issues of our times, the ability to work together in harmony even when there is honest disagreement, a sense of the welfare and true needs of our people, personal peace in our lives, and joy in our task. Amen.
Amen. If you'll kindly join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you everyone for coming today. Beautiful day out. Let's start with the roll call, please.
Mayor Foley?
Here.
Vice Mayor Atwater?
Here.
Councilmember Carroll?
Here.
Councilmember Altieri?
Here.
Councilmember Tedesco?
Here.
Let the record show all members are present.
Thank you very much. Item 2, are there any requests to reorder the agenda, any deletions or emergency additions from council? If there are none, can I have a motion and a second?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we have an agenda. Item 3, presentation proclamations. We have Tim Newsom from Florida City Gas here, and we have a proclamation. Before I give the proclamation, do you want to say a few words, or?
Yeah, there we go. Good morning, Council. It's great to be back here in front of you. It's been a few years since Florida City Gas has been here. I'd like to give you a brief update on where we stand in the installation of natural gas service within Indian River Shores. Though not as quickly as we have hoped as things move along throughout the communities on Indian River Shores, what I can tell you is, we started this project. The main line that was installed on A1A was released to us in May of 2023, so we could start getting gas from there. At that point in time, we started to install our regulator stations throughout Indian River Shores. We installed one up at the Strand in early 2023, and the other one here out at Indian River Shores was activated in December 2023. We started construction in Johns Island, which of course is the largest area that we're going to have to work in here within a town. We started in Johns Island in May of 2024 on the beachside area of the community, and wrapped that up sometime around late August, early September of 24, and then immediately transitioned over onto the Riverside portion in October of 2024. We have the majority of the gas service installed by May of 2025, not as quickly as we had hoped. As you can imagine, we're used to putting pipe in the ground for new construction development stuff, so it's much easier to put pipe in the ground. In this case, when you start dealing with a community as large as Johns Island, for one, and two, having to work with driveways and infrastructure that's already in, kind of slows the construction process down. As a sales guy, you hope things go in as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, when construction begins and engineering goes on, things kind of slow down a little bit. So as I said, we completed a majority of the installation around the golf course in May of 2025, but we're still completing some small gas main extensions throughout that area. As of today, we've installed more than 15 miles of gas main in Johns Island. We've got about another 6 miles to go, and that is the area of sago palm, coconut palm on the immediate riverside, which we're hoping to begin sometime this later spring, early summer. We do have another project we're getting ready to kick off in mid-March. That's the estuary right down the street here. Construction informs me that we're looking at a mid-March timeframe to start in the estuary. And they're wrapping up their sewer camera inspections, and their on-site pre-construction meetings have been done, so hopefully by mid-March we'll start moving in there and get gas main installed in the estuary. We do have 2 other smaller projects that are currently awaiting permits for installation. That's into Village Shores and down at Pebble Lane. And once we have permits for those from FDOT and the town of Indian River Shores, we'll start on those projects. Two other fairly large projects that we have that are in their final engineering design are Marbrisa and Indian Trails. When our engineers went into those communities, we found it, as we knew when we drove through originally, very restricted in space, a lot of trees, a lot of stuff involved there. So we had to bring in a private engineering firm to come in and give us a complete survey of the communities. What this allowed us to do is we now know where everything is, or we hope we know where everything is, as found out by the engineering firms. And our engineers could come in and get a better engineering design before we could start moving forward with any type of construction. Once we have the final design done, we'll get back with the homeowners associations there and start working out a timeline as to when we're going to be able to get in and run services there. We're in the stages, development stages right now for the following communities in Indian River Shores: River Club, Ocean Colony, Sea Forest, Beachcomber Lane, Pebble Bay, and the Carlton. So we still have a lot of work out in front of us just here in the town of Indian River Shores. A lot of things going on with us, not only here but throughout our project on the island. I can tell you, just in the town of Indian River Shores, mostly in Johns Island, I've signed over 100 customers already. That's pretty good for us. I've probably engaged with another 100 that we have in process one way or the other, between design and engineering and those kinds of things. And I've talked to about 500 Indian River Shores residents over the last couple of years since we rolled this project out. So as we move into other communities, that of course increases. The bulk of the work for me now is Indian River Shores, or in Johns Island, I should say, because that's where the bulk of the pipe has gone in. Estuary will start up once we start putting pipe in the ground. I think that's all I have in my prepared statement. I'm willing to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions from the council?
Yes, sir. So you mentioned Village Shores and Pebble Lane. You're waiting for FDOT permits.
Yes, sir.
So any realistic timeline on when they're going to be completed?
I would imagine those will probably be in within the next 2 months. FDOT permit takes us about a month to get through that process. Indian River Shores is absolutely much quicker than that. But we are in that permit process, that everything has been submitted to FDOT. There is a process where we have we have to provide them with a notification of what we're going to do, and we have to go a couple of weeks before we can then submit the permits. And then, of course, we have to answer any questions that they may have about how we're going to impact either one of those, projects are going to impact the FDOT right of way. In both cases, there's not much that we have to do because we're just going to tie into the right of way on our gas main that's already on that side of the street, and then come in actually on the Indian River Shores community. So it's not that difficult. And once we have permitting, then the job goes to construction for scheduling.
Okay, so you say the job goes to the work for schedule.
Yes.
Any sense of when gas starts flowing into homes in those communities?
The goal for me as a sales guy, of course, is to get it on as quickly as possible. And what all I can do with our construction team is notify them of where we are. Both of these projects are going to new construction homes. So they know that we have a target of when these folks want to get in. We want to get them in so they can get their COs for their home. So we want to get that project pushed up as quickly as we can. But as of today,
Well, they're older communities. You said COs.
They are, but the projects that actually drove these into these two communities were two new construction homes that are under construction at this point in time.
Okay.
So that's what's driving that. And those customers actually paid for to have those lines installed, because that's the only way we could do that. There wasn't a large outpouring of folks wanting gas in those systems, but those homeowners said, I want natural gas for my home. It's a better deal for me than propane at this point in time. So they wrote us a check to get those lines. Of course, we're going to pass other homes in there. We're going to be able to expand once we're in there. It's just a matter of getting those lines in.
So we looking at 28, 29, 30?
No, sir. No, sir. Well, as we move forward through this, yes, we're probably looking at, several projects in 26, several projects in 27, several projects in 28, because we have so many that we want to get to. So many communities have expressed interest in getting natural gas. When we get to that point, we can only work, at the pace of what our construction teams can work. We just line them up and fill a funnel and move on as we can.
So you only have one construction team working at a time then?
We have one contractor that works here. No,
Okay.
we have several. We have crews in Johns Island. We have crews in Windsor. We have crews everywhere. It just depends on where that work is and where it needs to be done.
Okay. And then you mentioned developments like River Club and Goshen Colony, so we're looking into the next decade then, right?
No, I would say probably 27, 28 is probably when we're looking. This was this is a 10-year project for us. That's how we looked at it. We can only move so quickly as fast as our engineers can design things, and we can permit things, and we can get them on a construction schedule. So the good news is we finally have natural gas to the barrier island, and we're going to try to serve folks as quickly as we can.
Okay.
Is Palm Island one of the targets?
Palm Island is not at this point in time. So what we did is when we originally rolled the program out, we rolled this project out, we sent out mailers, we advertising, all those kinds of things, and a lot of it was dependent on what the demand was within the community. We were requiring that at least 50% of the homeowners within a community would at least express that interest in switching from propane to natural gas.
And are you still requiring that minimum 50%?
We still are requiring that.
But it sounds like there are some communities where individual homeowners can raise their hand and say,
that's where those things will, like I said, when a customer specifically wants it and says, I'm not going to wait for my neighbors, I'm going to write you a check so I can get gas to my home. And then we'll worry about that. We'll worry about that later, and that's how we have the ability within our tariff to help replace some of those funds that customer has. Other folks jump on that line, so we have the ability to return some of their funds as well. And like I said, I'm out in the community every day, talking with neighbors, talking with homeowners associations, just trying to move this. Councilman Tedesco and I have gone back and forth on emails for his community. So we have a lot of things in the hopper. Like I said, we can just move as quickly as we can to make.
So then if you move on a community by community basis, let's say the River Club, do you then enter into a memorandum of understanding with each community?
What we do is we sign an easement agreement with the community. We don't contract with the community, because we don't want to hold the community accountable for that. We leave the contracting part between Florida City Gas and individual customers. So we come up with that agreement that says, yep, you're going to allow us to come into your community and provide your residents with natural gas service. And it's what we've done with Johns Island, with Windsor, with the estuary. Every community we go into, that's what we're doing.
So using Johns Island as an example, of the 1,394 doors in there, what percentage hooked up?
We're probably at about 100 right now, or thereabouts. We've been in there and we're probably doing services every day or every other day. We've got a crew in there running 3, 4, 5 services between new construction homes, conversions, folks doing all that kind of stuff. So we're moving along. Same thing with Windsor. We're getting ready to do Orchid Island. So there's a lot of things that, we've got going on. It's just, things have to progress the way they do. It's unfortunate that we can't move faster as much as I would love to. It's just, sometimes we just can't do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just to clarify, you're also hooking up commercial too, so the clubhouses,
yes,
and that
yes,
doesn't,
sir.
that's not included in the doors, and that's a big part of the project that you're looking at.
Yes, sir.
Johns Island Clubhouse and Orchid and Windsor.
We've got Johns Island clubs on, we've got Windsor clubs on, Orchid Island clubs on, we've got all that big commercial stuff on. We've done several of the condos up in Johns Island as well. So that's part of it. That's the big gas driver, but what keeps me busiest is taking care of those residential customers.
All right, thank you. And then one last thing.
Yes, sir.
I'm aware that you're a highly, highly regulated industry.
Yes, sir.
But I'm going to ask you to rate us. So in terms of the permitting process and the cooperation from the town, how would you rate us? Things we can improve, things we are doing right?
No, I don't get involved so much in that side of the business because I'm part of construction.
That's why I'm asking you.
But I haven't, yeah, but truthfully, the town has been great. Sometimes as delayed as we kind of get in Johns Island, the Johns Island folks have been outstanding as well. So I would say Indian River Shores as a community has been fantastic for us. If I get a call about needing to get a restoration project taken care of that the resident wasn't happy with how that stuff was restored in their home, that's one of the first things I jump on is to make sure we get that taken care of. I'll get a call from Mr. Harper and say, hey, Tim, can you reach out to this customer? So I make sure that construction gets that and we get those things taken care of so we can be as responsive as we can. I'm only one person out here. This is for Florida City Gas, so I'm a little stretched thin. But I certainly want to be responsive. I want to answer my phone. I want to answer my emails and make sure that, we're serving the community the way we should be.
Thank you. The reason why I asked you was because as the guy sitting in the chair responsible for sales, I'm sure it filters up to you if,
I am the face of the company here, so yes, whether it's on a construction side or the sales side or anything like that, those calls come through me. That's just part of being in this position that I'm in to be here, so.
all right, thank you. Well, anything we can do better, we're always open to listening.
Absolutely, I appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Tim, can I ask
Yes,
One,
sir.
one more.
one final,
Yes, sir.
very practical level? I hear from a lot of people, oh, I've got propane, it's going to cost me a lot of money to switch over to natural gas. And I've heard the other side of that, is that on a house-by-house basis, it's really not that big a number. Could you just shed some light on that?
Sure. So in most cases, I'll say 95% of the cases, the initial cost to get service to the home, we're going to cover that, right? We use what our tariff allows us to do is have a construction allowance based on a customer's gas usage. The only appliance that doesn't fit into that is a generator because it's a standby piece of equipment. But in most cases, we're running the service to the home and setting a gas meter. Conversion costs, of course, will depend a lot on how many appliances you have, how old those appliances are, those kinds of things. I've seen conversions as low as $1,200. I've seen some up $2,500 and plus, right, depending on those appliances. Because we're converting from propane to natural gas, they're both gases. They kind of burn on the same pressure. There's not much difference in that. It just depends on how they get it to the home. So those conversion processes are usually pretty simple and straightforward. Where we kind of set ourselves apart, right now with thermal natural gas for us is about $2.25. That's 100,000 BTUs of energy. I've talked to a couple of customers lately. We kind of give the propane companies the benefit of the doubt at about $3.50 to $4 a gallon. Over the last couple of days, I've been told one customer was $4.95 a gallon, another one was $5.79 a gallon. So we're definitely in that ballpark to where we can give a benefit to those customers. I did a cost analysis for a homeowner in Windsor yesterday. He's going to get a payback in about 8 months on his investment of his conversion cost based on what his cost for propane was. So, and it's the long run. We don't run out. Our gas is always on. You don't have to worry about that truck showing up. We get the trucks off the street. It's a benefit. Don't get me wrong. Propane has a place. I have it at my house. So, it's just part of my business to go out and try to wrangle some of those folks away.
Yeah, I filled up in November. I won't name the company, but I paid just a little over $5 a gallon.
Right. So we're competitive. Yes, Peter.
And you're giving rebates on appliances.
Right. So we have our conversion rebates from propane to natural gas aren't that robust because the idea of the energy conservation program when it was established was to get electric load off the grid. So if you're going from electric to gas, we have very robust electric to gas rebates. tankless water heater, for example, is $675. So we have those things available. So when folks want to replace those, we've got money to help offset those costs. Propane's a little bit different on the other side, but that's when we kind of go back into that cost savings over the two energies.
All right, anything else? Thanks very much. We'll look forward to hearing how the progress grows. All right. Okay, next, just one question, Madam Clerk. I've got a proclamation for Flood Awareness Week that was part of my materials, but it's not on the agenda. Is that for next month?
No, the town manager was going to bring it up under his report.
Okay, all right, fine, thank you. All right, then we'll move to item number 4, which is comments from the public regarding agenda items. So any items listed on the agenda that the public wants to comment on, now is your time to do so. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. We had a very busy-looking agenda, but a lot of it is on the consent agenda. They're fairly routine things. I'm just checking, Mr. Town Attorney, I don't see anything that requires a roll call vote. Am I right in concluding that?
Mr. Mayor, if you chose to on the ILAs, you could do it as a roll call vote. It's not required, but maybe in an abundance of caution.
Okay, all right. The ILAs for those
So
listening,
blanket approval with roll
yeah,
call.
yeah, they're interlocal agreements. They're agreements that we have with other government entities. So I think it's a good idea to have a roll call vote on that. So is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
All right, let's have a roll call vote.
Mayor Foley?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Atwater?
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll?
Aye.
Councilmember Altieri?
Aye.
Councilmember Tedesco?
Aye.
Let the record show the motion passes unanimously.
All right, and thank you, Mr. Sweeney, for your counsel on that. Mayor's report. Didn't want to mention this during Mr. Knutsen's presentation because he was so positive, but 2 items that the town manager, I'll ask to have him address in his report. They were not huge incidents, but we did have a gas main incident or a gas line incident on Friday, and then it was, I guess, the week for breaks, and then we had a tree fall on a hydrant, break a water main that caused some disruption, and just have the town manager give a report on that. Both were repaired relatively quickly, although we did get some comment back from the public as to what happened and why. On water legislation, the broken record from the mayor about water legislation, I have a printout of just about every water bill that has been filed, including those without companions in the other chamber. And I'll give the good news. The good news is, having looked at this issue for the better part of 7 years, and I know Councilman Carroll, Vice Mayor Elwater, Councilman Altieri, and I think Mr. Tedesco, before he was Councilman Tedesco, also followed this issue. We saw a lot of bills floating around the legislature to address some of the central issues important to us, mainly pricing fairness, given the fact that we're forced to obtain our sewer and water services from the city of Vero Beach. So the good news is, of the bills that I'm seeing, many of the bills are moving in the right direction in terms of truly addressing the problems we have on a statewide basis. The bad news is, the word is, there's not going to really be any action on any of these bills during this legislative session. That could change. Nobody has a crystal ball on this, but I'm going to leave the materials I have with Mr. Sweeney and for any of the council people or members of the public who are interested in seeing this, you're welcome to have a look at it. I would summarize the key issues for us are the unfairness of having to pay potentially higher costs and potentially higher fees simply because, we are slightly out of a geographical boundary, which is a matter as a right for the city of Vero Beach to do. 25% can be tacked on basically for any or no reason whatsoever, up to 50% where there has to be at least some veneer of justification for it. I think the Vice Mayor has pointed out the unfairness of that in that, if you had a house right next door on the town line to a house in the city of Vero Beach, would it be fair for you to pay more for your electric? No, Utilities really shouldn't operate that way. So there are a number of these bills that are addressing those issues and also restricting the amount of money that enterprise funds, which are utilities run by municipalities, can return to what's called the general fund. So the general fund is the big pot of money that municipalities use to fund their operations. Typically, that's done through taxes, ad valorem taxes and revenues that are shared from the state. As it stands now, utilities can basically run a profit on their utility services, charge customers that have to buy the services from that utility more, and then they return the profits to the general fund, not back into the infrastructure costs and the capital costs to keep the utility up to date and running. So for me, that's taxation without representation. It's unfair. I think there's a growing consensus throughout the state that there needs to be something done about this. Unfortunately, nobody's really had the appetite to really push the issue, despite many of us up here trying hard and pushing that. So we'll continue to do what we can and monitor it. But as I said, the good news is the issues that are reflected in these pending bills seem to be going in the general direction that I believe they should. The bad news is I would not hold my breath to see anything actually legislated this session. All right, so on that, we have, I'm going to mention this now as opposed to the Treasure Coast Council of Local Governments report, but one of the commissioners gave an update at Treasure Coast Council of Local Governments, which is a meeting monthly for elected representatives from all the municipalities and school boards in the area, about a beach replenishment plan that was going on in St. Lucie County. You may have seen, due to erosion, it was getting pretty darn close to some of the properties and homes in the area, and an emergency replenishment program was undertaken to dump sand to at least put up a temporary barrier to further erosion and keep those homes hopefully from falling into the ocean. The issue that caught my attention, I know we already know how expensive that is. I think it's going to be in the magnitude of $7, $8, $9 million to do that. That's a lot of money for a temporary fix. There was some talk about structures being placed offshore that they're looking into to act as a more permanent break against erosion. At the time, a few years ago, Mayor Gibbons of Orchid and I were looking into these kinds of things, and we were told because of the geology of our area, we were not good candidates for those kinds of breaks. But I've asked the town manager to follow up and see whether or not the experts are actually correct on this, whether or not there's a new technology we're not aware of, because if there is a project that's going to be undertaken, I think we should have a seat at the table, as should all the other municipalities, to see whether or not we'd be a candidate for that. So I know in the Maldives and different places throughout the world, they have such structures, and it's showing promising signs of ameliorating the effects of the beach erosion. So I'm across A1A, and although I'd love to have oceanfront property, I don't want it that way. So I think we need to really stay very far ahead of this, and we're doing what we can. We're doing plantings on dunes, and we're actually setting a higher standard than the minimum required in order to prevent erosion wherever we can. And so I think if there's a really good technological fix, let's talk with our partners in St. Lucie, find out what they St. Lucie County, that is, find out what they've been told and whether or not we'd be a candidate for that. We'd never be able to afford this on our own. We're talking in the magnitude of tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. So that's really a federal state project, but you got to start somewhere. Even the longest journey starts with a single step, right? All right, lastly, it's going to be a little bit longer statement on something that I have, and essentially, City of Vero Beach Vice Mayor Taylor Dingle issued a press release that he's going to ask the City of Vero Beach Council to request a voluntary audit by the Florida Department of Government Efficiency Some of us call it Little Doge or Florida Doge. He's doing this for the purpose of, quote, restoring public confidence following past audit issues, end quote. I fully support Vice Mayor Dingle and ask the Indian River Shores Council members to support his endeavor as well. That is provided the audit includes a full assessment of the enterprise funds, such as the City of Vero Beach Water and Sewer Department, to determine how much ratepayers are actually subsidizing the City of Vero Beach General Fund with profits from water and sewer services. And that's not just the amount of money that's being transferred over, but the Vice Mayor a few years back gave a very sobering account of how much of the administrative cost is actually shifted over to be covered by taxpayers in Indian River Shores that have no direct way of accounting for it by voting for officials in the City of Vero Beach. So Indian River Shores has an interest in full transparency of the City of Vero Beach finances, given the fact that our residents are forced to buy water and sewer services from the City of Vero Beach. I also think, likewise, the county residents who were forced into the City of Vero Beach water and sewer system by the county commissioner's vote, it was a 3-2 vote a couple of years ago, have the same interest in transparency. In the 3-2 vote, the commissioners agreed to give an exclusive multi-decade franchise agreement requiring those county residents, particularly the South Island residents, to buy water and sewer services from the City of Vero Beach. Thus, I would expect our county commissioners to support Vice Mayor Dingle, and for the further reason that the city consistently asks the county to share in revenues and subsidies in a variety of contexts, including room taxes and different monies that really belong to the entirety of the county. I think as such, the county should know, where its residents' money is going, and so I would expect that the county commissioners would be supportive of this audit as well. I would also think that the local taxpayer organizations would support Vice Mayor Dingle if they truly have the best interests of Indian River taxpayers at heart. I mean, what's a taxpayer association for if it's not for transparency and accountability? So in closing, I want to thank Vice Mayor Dingle for being a serious and responsible steward of the public trust in the taxpayer funds. And I would ask that all of us support him in the effort to have this done. So anyway, that's it. I'm happy to answer any questions. We're not going to take a formal vote on this. Each individual council member can express their support either today or if they want to think about the issue by email to Vice Mayor Taylor Dingle. All right, thank you.
Is this an independent audit by an independent auditing agency, or is it done? Is it to be done by an agency of the city?
No, it's Florida Doge is an agency of the Florida state government.
Oh,
so
Florida
yeah,
Doge.
and there's talk about making a permanent Florida Doge entity this legislative session. I don't know where that sits, Mr. Sweeney, but I lost track of the bill.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have not seen any update on it, but I'll certainly look into it more. But to Councilman Altieri's point, JLAC, which is the Joint Legislative Accounting Committee, Audit Committee, excuse me, has done this multiple times in multiple cities up and down throughout the state of Florida. So,
right, and some governments, and particularly counties, have, through either a minority or majority, asked for Little Doge, Florida Doge, to conduct audits and reviews to ensure transparency or rectify any issues that they see. So. It's not an internal audit, it's an external audit. Fair to say?
yes.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, you made reference to the possibility of council supporting the statement, in effect, that you just read. I'd be very much in favor of doing that. I heard it just now for the first time. I listened carefully. I agree with everything you said. And I'd like to know if there is a procedure that we can follow at this point for council to endorse the mayor's statement.
Mayor, council, yes, you could. you could take it up as a motion in a second and do that. It wasn't agendized, so I don't know what the time frame is for Vice Mayor Dingle to send this off. It is arguably an action of council that would be binding as a fair statement if you did all approve it, so it probably should be agendized. But if you were wanting to do that at this meeting, you would move to modify the agenda. I think we've already said it, so there'll be a lot of complicating factors to do it in this meeting. But I don't know the timing, Mr. Mayor.
I appreciate that. This happened all relatively quickly. I think the date of his press release was February 10. I didn't see it until the 12th. I think the council meeting where he's going to bring it up is the 28th. I agree that in order for there to be a formal resolution, we would have to put it on the agenda. I don't want to call a special meeting to do that, and we've already passed the time to add items to the agenda.
Yes.
But my understanding is that if we individually endorse it here verbally and were to send an email on our own, we would not run afoul of any sunshine law issue on agendizing the item.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, Council, I'm not worried. Yeah, that would be fine if you wanted to. It's just whether it was on a Town of Indian River Shores letterhead, signs, official correspondence by the mayor, or if it was individual actions, having been made aware of it, and whether it was Councilman Carroll, Vice Mayor Alwater, whoever were to send those emails, that would be fine.
Okay, so we can verbally give an attaboy if we agree with it today.
Yes.
And we can send emails
Attaboy.
individually to Vice Mayor Dingle
And depending
endorsing
on
the action.
if this were to continue, I would recommend we do have it as a formal agenda item potentially for the next meeting, assuming it goes forward.
Yes, okay, all right.
Put it on a personal email or on our IRS?
I would recommend always on Indian River Shores emails, sending it, and that way the town maintains a copy of it.
Public record.
As a public record. Yes, sir.
All right, great. And the clerk has the address for Vice Mayor Dingle, so you know you can work through the clerk to send them individually, but we're not able to send them as a group email because of the okay. Anything?
No.
Nothing. All right. All right, Vice Mayor Alwater has a presentation on PFAS strategies, otherwise known as Forever Chemicals.
Correct. So I backed up Councilman Altieri. He couldn't make the meeting, so there was a presentation by Rob Bolton, the Utilities Director. Basically, not all he did, but there was a 14-page document that was handed out, and he verbally talked about it. So I created this PowerPoint presentation. So this was the Vero Beach Utilities Commission. So just following up a little bit on the mayor's remarks, when you see Vero Beach Utilities Commission, you think, wow, boy, that's a pretty important body. Under the franchise agreement with the city, we get one member on that, and there's a couple of members from outside the city, such as South Beach, where they serve. The reality is this utility commission has absolutely no teeth to it, in spite of what the city manager, Monty Falls, and Mayor Cotugno say, where they indicate we have a voice. Has zero voice. It does act as an information disseminating body, but they say it's advisory. It's not even advisory. All the decisions on the utility are made by the Vero Beach City Council, which we all know we can't vote for. They effectively act as the board of directors like a private company. So it's just important for people to know that. So let's see if you could flip to who's running these slides. Okay, if you'd flip to the next page. I think a lot of people are pretty familiar with that PFAS, as the mayor says, are essentially compounds that have a very long half-life. There are a large group of fluoride containing compounds that are believed to have multiple negative human health effects. And the major sources of these contaminations in drinking water and groundwater are training and fire response sites, industrial sites, landfills, and when biosolids are created in a wastewater treatment process, they oftentimes have these things as well. Every one of us here, from what I can read in the medical science literature, we all have PFASs in our body. If you flip the next page, please. Okay, so the EPA set up standards for different various PFAS here. You can see them here. This was finally done under the Biden administration per their 2024 final rule. These are very low concentrations. They're not easy to get out, particularly the ones that are at 4, and realistically, the ones that are 0, you're not going to get them taken care of. So that was the standard that was set up in 2024 at the tail end of the Biden administration. If you flip to the next page, please. So just very recently, the Trump administration said they're going to, the EPA is going to look at this all over again, and they eliminated, at least temporarily, some of the standards for the other chemicals. They're going to review them. I'm not saying they're going to eliminate them forever, but they're going to reconsider them. So basically, the two primary contaminants are the PFOAs and the PFOS, and the standards are the same as what you saw on the previous page in 2024. You flip to the next page. So where are they at in Vero Beach? Well, they're around the airport. So there were various firefighting training locations that occurred where the chemicals ended up being sprayed on the ground. This one, I believe the road on the left-hand side is 43rd Street there, just north of 26th Avenue. So that's one major location. Flip to the next page. Then there was a series of incidents that took place on the airport where there either was a fuel leak, there was an aircraft fire, aircraft engine fire, and some other things that occurred. Unfortunately, the field where they get water from, the more shallow wells, are not too far away from these particular sites. Next page, please. So there was an analysis done, and I believe this was done very recently. So I did a cut and paste of the table that was in the document that Mr. Bolton put in. All these other things were cut and paste. And then what I added was the 2024 EPA standard. And as you can see there, it ain't good news. So there are a lot of these sitting out here, even if they rescind the other standards for some of the ones below the first two. We're way above things. And the maximum, I'm not sure how they came up with that, whether they did various surveys and then looked at the highs and lows. So I didn't get the detail on that, but potentially some of the standards were much higher than the 4.0 that was in the 2024 EPA standard. And just remind you, the PFOA and the PFOS standards are still at 4, even under the current EPA rules.
So, Vice Mayor, are these active wells or are these decommissioned?
I'm not to that page yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Okay. So flip the next page. Okay. So some of the wells have amazing numbers to them, and as Councilman Altieri points out, they're way above these standards. These are all currently offline. They're being shut down, but pretty staggering numbers that you can see there. Not a good situation. This is unfortunately pretty common around airports who use these firefighting chemicals. And where this all started, my understanding, is Witham Airport in the city of Stewart, where they first found these things. They went after DuPont and 3M, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. So my understanding, that's where this got prominence and then has been spread or been discussed all across the country, but incredible numbers. Next page, please. So there are a lot of different treatment technologies. Obviously, I don't have the expertise. I'm not going to waste everybody's time trying to go through them. So they looked at a lot of different things, and the ones they decided to test are the ones I put in the red X to run a a pilot study to see how they can potentially remove these PFAS. Now, you'll see a couple of these very effective, most effective, and so forth. I hope that's right. I've been in meetings other times where they say these are not as proven as what they think, but I don't know. We'll have to see. I know this happened down in Fort Pierce, and the impression I had, they were having issues down there as well, and didn't have the level of optimism that maybe some of these comments made. Would you agree or disagree with that?
I would agree, Mr. Mayor, Council. I'm intimately familiar with PFAS. There's national litigation going on. I don't want to jump to the conclusion, I'm sure, but there is literally two funds worth billions of dollars that quite frankly is available to any municipality or county utility provider that has these types of numbers. I'm working with and representing, and so I'm familiar with it.
Right.
And again, none of the technology is perfect yet. A lot of this is very new, but the ability to ameliorate it with the funding that's available from these class actions would go a long ways. And so I think maybe that pays into some of what you described.
Unless the city opted out. As
You
did Vero Beach.
can't opt out.
As did Vero Beach.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
right.
yes.
You're absolutely right. The city did opt out. So
Based on these numbers that you just showed, minimum thresholds on some of the DuPont numbers would be well into the millions. It's all based on how many gallons per day, what your numbers are, and how much you provide.
Right. So flip to the next page. So these are treatment technologies cost estimates, and taken with a huge grain of salt. So this would be in addition to the, what is it, the $160 million cost of the water and sewer plant. I hope I have that right. If I'm wrong, please tell me. So this would be in addition. So they eliminated looking at the RO because of the expense. The other thing is that my understanding is it creates solid sludges where the PFAS tends to get concentrated, and then you have an issue where the hell are you going to dump that? So they're going to look at the GAC and IX. If you'd flip the next page, please. So they're going to do a pilot study comparing these two removals, and then the consultant states that the potential performance is very site specific, that you can't make a generalization about how these are going to work out, and the cost is going to be $250,000, which at least initially will be borne by the water and sewer customers. And as Councilman Altieri pointed out, that there's been a whole series of lawsuits on these. Just very recently, City of Stewart settled with DuPont. They got a multi-million-dollar one, about what, $6 million, I think. But a third of that goes for fees. And to your point, Councilman Altieri, the city has opted out at this point. I don't know why, but I don't know if you have any information on that. I'd welcome your comments. The city attorney just said they opted out, but didn't say why. So I just want to alert everybody. Unfortunately, this is what is going on with your water. So I thought it was important to put it on the public record out there. You can look at it on YouTube and see the slides that I put together, which was a summary of the utilities director's comments.
So, Vice Mayor, my understanding is that the cost, whatever it winds up to be, whether or not it's going to be $250,000 for the study, but it's either going to be 14 million or 16 million or some exponential number above those two numbers. But my sense was that what Rob Bolton says was that they were going to carve that out of the bond issuance and fund it through some state revolving funds. It's
Okay.
like a 20-year loan, which would be, apparently it's a very low interest loan. It gets some funding from the state or the county or both. But I don't think it's going to add to the burden of the revenue bonds.
All right, thank you. The conclusion I draw is that it's safer to drink beer and wine for the time being. Is that, now, seriously, it's an important issue, and the one thing that struck me was the opt-out, because I'm trying to search back for my class action law primer, which I know dangerously little about, but if you opt out, you then have to either join another class or bring your own suit on your own dime.
Yes, Mayor. That's
And
exactly
within
right.
a certain time frame, there is a statute of limitations that's probably
Right.
running.
All of those are accurate.
Hesitate to ask this question, we're going to ask it anyway. Any indications as to what they plan to do? Anybody? Was there a strategy involved in this or just a reflex to opt out?
I have not heard anything, Mr. Mayor. I'm sorry.
Maybe good question to ask at the next,
And maybe the vice mayor knows better than I, but we've got two target defendants. One is DuPont, one is 3M. My guess is that their involvement with PFAs is different. Some of the PFAs had to do with clothing, like water retardant clothing. Some of it had to do with the PFAs that are part of the firefighting foam. So it may be that one of the lawsuits that they opted out of had to do with 3M and not DuPont. But we can do the research on this and be better informed by the next meeting.
Yes, sir.
right, yeah, I don't want to give everybody a headache this afternoon, or this morning talking about these things, but, there's like enterprise liability, like, there's a strict liability. So it seems to me if it's the same aquifer and the water is coming from the same aquifer, even on the county side, the contaminants got there somehow. If they're not naturally occurring, we know that. But all right, well, thank you for the presentation and thank you for following up on this. And we'll have to exercise our own diligence in what we take. I did note that in California, I read an article that the levels were so high in parts of California that under California law, water would be have to be labeled as a carcinogenic. Amazing. All right. Anything else on this? Any council member items other than Vice Mayor? Okay. Let's move on to item 8A, ordinance number 587, short-term vacation rental enforcement. I'll let Mr. Harping and Mr. Sweeney give the explanation on this, but my understanding from reading the materials, it's to basically make the enforcement mechanism part of our special magistrate system, kind of conforming to the rest of the way we do things with code enforcement, et cetera.
Mr. Mayor, that's correct.
Okay. Mr. Sweeney, do you want to read the title and do the magic language, as we call it?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. This is ordinance number 587, an ordinance relating to short-term vacation rentals, amending section 161.12, short-term vacation rentals, sub E, enforcement of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Indian River Shores, providing for applicability and inclusion, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing for a business impact estimate, providing for scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date. This is the first reading. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Is there a motion to approve? So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the ordinance? If there is no discussion on the ordinance, we can take a roll call vote.
Mayor Foley?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Atwater?
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll?
Aye.
Councilmember Altieri?
Aye.
Councilmember Tedesco?
Aye.
Let the record show the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. Item 8B, ordinance number 588, establishment of departments. Now, despite the title, we're not establishing more departments, we're actually streamlining departments. So it really is eliminating some departments and consolidating them to make our government more efficient. But I'll let you explain the logic behind the recommendation that you made, Mr. Harping, with which I agree, by the way.
Thank you. Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, Council. The code, as it stands, establishes 8 departments. From a functional standpoint, operational standpoint, those 8 departments are not needed. We're looking to shrink that size from 8 to 4. Those 4 departments will accurately reflect the day-to-day administration and operations of the town.
All right, Mr. Sweeney, can you read the title and the magic language, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. This is ordinance number 588, an ordinance relating to town administration amending section 30.01, establishment of departments, providing for applicability and inclusion, providing for severability, providing for scrivener's errors, providing for codification, providing for an business impact statement, and providing for an effective date. This is the first reading. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
All right, a motion by the Vice Mayor, a second by Councilman Altieri. Is there any discussion? Any discussion on this item? Okay.
Will Lucy be getting more things to do or less? I'm hoping more.
We're counting on more.
Mayor Foley?
First of all, it's a good thing Lucy's not here. She scares me.
She's listening.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Atwater?
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll?
Aye.
Councilmember Altieri?
Aye.
Councilmember Tedesco?
Aye.
Let the record show the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. And I do think it's a testament to the quality of people we have that we can make this seamless consolidation and not skip a beat. We've got people that take on a lot more things than folks used to, and credit to our administration for doing that. Thank you. Item 8C, ordinance number 589, repeal of section 31.05, contracts required for services. Mr. Harpring, can you kindly give an explanation of this? And I would ask you also, I had one question, which was, you know, if council is still going to approve personal services contracts and management contracts, et cetera. So if you could kindly give our council and our public a summary of why we want this ordinance passed.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, excuse me, moving a little bit towards efficiency and review of the ordinances. Currently, 3105 requires that every contract be approved by town council, notwithstanding amount or anything like that, and it's really for any person to render a service to the town. That does conflict with both our current policy, which has been provided in other areas of the ordinance. It also helps us administratively so that every single thing that we do doesn't have to wait essentially 4 weeks or 5 weeks to get approved.
Right, and just by way of example or clarity, it's not like you can go out without council approval, formal council approval, and hire a new director of public safety or a new treasurer or a new clerk.
Yes, that's correct, Mr. Mayor and Council. These are all consistent with really operational matters as opposed to personnel matters.
All right, thank you. That was my question. Are there any other questions before?
Yeah, the question I have is, how about large equipment purchases like fire engines and ambulances and so forth? Where does that stand?
We still have the current threshold levels for council approval in terms
Okay.
of that has to come back to council. That's completely unchanged.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Mayor, may I read?
Oh, I'm sorry, you have to read the title. Yep.
Yes, thank you. This is ordinance number 589, an ordinance of the Town of Indian River Shores, Florida, municipal corporation repealing section 31.05, contract required for services, providing for a business impact estimate, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing for conflicts, providing for scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date. This is the first reading. Thank you.
And is there a motion to approve? So moved. All right, we have a motion by Councilman Carroll and a second by Councilman Tedesco. Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Foley?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Atwater?
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll?
Aye.
Councilmember Altieri?
Aye.
Councilmember Tedesco? Let the record show the motion passes unanimously.
All right, thank you. Moving on to item 8D as in David. Appointment to Finance Committee for term expiring November 2026. We had Mr. Tedesco resign when he was appointed to council, and so we have an opening. My understanding is there were 2 applications. Yep, do you want to?
The town received 2 applications for the position. One was received from Teresa Morgan and one was received from Mr. Robert Stevenson.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Discussion, please.
Discussion, sure.
Okay.
Yep.
I asked the town clerk to look at the current membership. There's 5. We're replacing 1. Mike Oxner is going to be termed out in November of this year. Robert Moore is going to be termed out. as well, so we're going to have two people that we're going to have to look for, and then we have two other gentlemen who are going there. What my suggestion would be on this is to appoint a full member and an alternate, and I would be willing to make a motion to appoint Mr. Stevenson as the full member and Ms. Morgan as the alternate, since we're going to have the situation where we're going to have to fill in. And from the time when I was on the Finance Committee, sometimes it's difficult in the summer when you're going over budgets to get a full set of people. So that would be my suggestion, subject to council's concurrence.
Have we had alternates on finance before?
We've had alternates on finance in the past, and excuse me, as one, to the Vice Mayor's point, some of the challenges had been with actually getting a quorum for a physical meeting. There are alternatives to alternates, as it were. In the ordinance, there's no stricture on the number of people that could be on the particular committee. The difference in the amount, in other words, the total number of people as full-time members, the only thing that affects is what the quorum would be. I think what we did was in the past is we just didn't have the ability to have the volume of people that were interested in some of those positions, which is how we landed on 5 for the Finance Committee, which is a little different in function and structure than, say, the Planning, Zoning, and Variance Committee, which has other statutory, obligations. Our Finance Committee has the obligations directed to it by the council.
Okay, understood.
Could I make a suggestion?
Yes, I'm just getting to the point where I'm asking for other people's thoughts before we open the floor for motions, so by all means.
Thank you. 2 fantastic candidates. I had a chance this week to spend 2 hours with each of them, actually, and found them both really well-spoken and great communicators, quick-witted. I'm not a psychologist, but I think the EQ score would be very high with both of them. They both have dogs, which is another tie. One differentiator is the fact that Ms. Morgan is here year-round, Mr. Stevenson only seasonally. You might want to consider the alternate to be the person that is going to be gone in the off-season. But I agree with what you're saying, to put one on and as the full and the other as the alternate, because they both have very good business backgrounds and would both do very well serving on this committee, I think.
I hadn't thought of the proposal that the Vice Mayor suggested. What I can say is that I've known Rob Stevenson for years, and I would certainly second his nomination to fill the spot. I don't know Teresa Morgan yet. I'm delighted to see that she's raised her hand and that we've got such good candidates for these positions. I think the suggestion of having one be the fill the spot and the other be the alternate makes sense, although I don't think you can fill a quorum with an alternate, but I think that it creates a nice ladder for the future. And as the Vice Mayor suggested, we're going to have an opening or 2 in November in any event, so I would support that proposal.
I met with Mr. Stevenson. I have every confidence that he'll attend the meetings and he'll do what's needed to be done. Close call, but I would not have any objection to having Teresa Morgan as an alternate. I agree with Mr. Altieri that I don't know how that would work on quorum issues, but at the end of the day, Finance makes recommendations to us. There's nothing binding that they do. So I think, more minds, even if an alternate is weighing in, would be fine. Those are my thoughts on it. So, Vice Mayor, you've already spoken. Mr. Carroll?
Yes, I'm on record from the last meeting, the special meeting, extolling Mr. Stevenson's qualities. So I support him 100%. I met with Ms. Morgan, had a great conversation with her. She's a very well-qualified person. She indicated to me that if she is not appointed to the Finance Committee at this meeting, that she would most definitely choose to run in October, November, when the other openings come up. As for an alternate, it seems to me, and Mr. Town Manager, correct me if I'm wrong, hasn't the trend been to reduce, if not the trend for this council and your administration has been to reduce, if not eliminate, alternates? And I understand the case statement for it, that if one is unable to attend, another could step in. But I would also say that if the person appointed knows there is an alternate, then he or she may not feel as compelled to attend otherwise. So I don't support the idea of having an alternate. I think we ought to step up to the plate, pick who we want to pick, and count on our selection showing up for all the meetings. So I would support Mr. Stevenson.
Mr. Mayor, just briefly, that's correct, Councilmember Carroll, relative to the administration direction vis-a-vis the alternates and the numbers and so on. That direction is 100% correct as stated.
And Mr. Mayor, for the benefit of council, just very briefly, the Finance Committee is not a creature of ordinance. We don't have it in our ordinance. It's ad hoc in a sense. But I would say this. If somebody is an alternate, they don't count towards the composition. So if we had 5 members, but we had alternates for all of them, we have a 5-member board with a backup for each. The quorum then has to be 3 at those meetings. You know, so, but if you, I have seen historically more problems with quorum by having alternates for some of the reasons described. The primary sometimes believes the alternate will automatically back up. The alternate has already made plans. There is a primary. What I would suggest is there's really 3 approaches. You can do alternates, certainly, but you can simply add more members to the board. As I'm aware of, there's no fixed finite membership for the Finance Committee. You could have it be 3, 5, 7, 10, 12. That certainly could become unwieldy. My point is whatever number you decide on will fix your quorum going forward. So, and a final part is these are all public meetings. So if somebody was not a member of the board, they are not handcuffed and could go to the meetings, interact with all of the members of any of the committees. You know, all of you are very well versed with sunshine. So just things to think about. I just want to make sure everybody's clear.
Right, but my inarticulate statement about how the quorum works is it's an advisory board.
Yes,
so
sir.
we've had finance not have a quorum a couple of years ago, and they still sent their recommendations to us, and we evaluated them. We take them for what it's worth. So quorum is kind of a misnomer, but I think it's good to have an odd number because
yes,
there's
sir.
always a tiebreaker. And anyway, that's thank you for your clarification on that. Councilman Tedesco, you wanted another shot at the apple, another bite?
I'd just like to go on record with the fact that, number one, I agree with everything you said, Sam, relative to Mr. Stevenson. I was also very impressed with Ms. Morgan, who also has a very strong desire to join the council at some point. She is a CPA who also has a master's in business administration and went on to be certified also as a internal audit person, and also is certified to do fraud detection, which of course is not of any importance to us. A big differentiator here was the fact that she really looks also to this committee to be something that she would like to be on in order to really gain more understanding of the way this town works and the way this government here works, and would be willing to commit to a full 2-year term as opposed to just waiting until September of this year to take that committee assignment. With that in mind, if I were to choose only one, I like the idea of 2 at this point, including the alternate, but if I had to choose one, the differentiator to me would be the fact that she would be willing to stay on and have 2 years that she could serve on this committee.
All right, but whoever is successful has 6 months, and then they'd have to run again.
Right.
So it doesn't matter,
Right, that's
you know,
true.
now or
That's true.
later.
That's
So,
true.
all right.
Anyway, both strong candidates. We're blessed to have 2 people that are interested in doing this.
Absolutely. All right, who wants to make a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make one more comment. I want to get some clarification here, because a comment was made that if an alternate steps up because a full member's not there, that they don't count as part of the quorum. That's not my understanding at all.
No, they do count as
Oh,
quorum.
okay.
I'm sorry, I may have misspoke. What
No,
I'm
and
saying-
Well, no, I think Mr. Tedesco made that comment. I just want to be clear, because I'm an alternate on the Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council, and they count me when I go. So-
When an alternate steps into the shoes,
Yeah,
they're a
okay.
member.
All right.
So it counts towards.
All right, actually, Mr. Altieri made the comment.
I'm sorry, my
I
apologies.
obfuscated the comment and then tried to clarify it by saying since they don't have any binding authority, you know, the notion of a quorum really doesn't matter.
Okay.
And we've had non-quorum recommendations made by finance that we've acted on and have not said, well, we can't do it because only 2 people were present at the meeting. We take it for what it's worth. That's
Okay.
my only point.
Okay, just one other thing. If you look at the next agenda item, we're picking alternates, so just keep that in mind. Yeah, so, Mr. Mayor, I would make a motion to appoint Mr. Stevens as a full member and Ms. Morgan as an alternate, member of the Finance Committee.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there another motion? Or is council comfortable acting on this motion?
I'll make a motion that we select Mr. Stevenson as the member of Finance Committee, period, in paragraph.
And I'm going to second that motion. So we have 2 motions. We'll have a vote on the first motion, because that's what Robert's rules count. So starting from right to left, all in favor, well, actually, roll call vote. Are you in favor of Vice Mayor Alwater's motion, which is a primary member, Mr. Stevenson, and an alternate, Ms. Morgan? Yay or nay?
Would you like roll call?
Yes.
Mayor Foley?
Nay.
Vice Mayor Atwater?
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll?
Nay.
Councilmember Tedesco?
Aye.
Councilmember Altieri?
Nay.
All right, the first motion fails. The second motion is Councilman Carroll's motion. And let's have a roll call vote.
Mayor Foley?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Atwater?
Aye.
Aye.
Councilmember Tedesco?
Aye.
All right,
Record show
interesting.
The motion passes unanimously.
Okay, we had a split vote and then a unanimous vote. So what do we take from that? Here's what we take from that. Is Mrs. Morgan here?
No, it was explained that she was out of the country from months
Okay.
ago. Planned.
So what we take from that is we encourage Mrs. Morgan to attend the meetings of the Finance Committee, since it's a public notice meeting, participate in any way she wishes. As with any resident, I'm happy to hear whatever comments any resident has, particularly those that attend the meetings and participate in them. And there are going to be plenty of spots open in November. So, you know, hopefully she'll keep us in mind and be willing to dedicate her time at that point in time. And I would say, you know, the comments about alternates, it's not like Treasure Coast Council, local governments, and other organizations where we get people, you know, routinely attending and having schedule conflicts. I think, you know, I think alternates do create more problems than they solve. So With that in mind, we'll move on to the next item. Congratulations, Mr. Stevenson. We look forward to having you do some good work on that committee, and thank you for council spending so much time and effort in evaluating the candidates. All right, item 8E, appointments to county and regional committees. Clarifying this, I think we're not reappointing everybody, we're just reallocating based upon Mr. Tedesco's elevation to the spots that Mr. Dane had. So do you have, Madam Clerk, Mr. Dane's appointments? I believe he was treasurer of the League of Cities,
He served
right?
as the primary member on the Treasure Coast League of Cities. He served as an alternate member to the Utilities Commission, I believe, and
Also on Affordable Housing Committee and Elected Official Oversight Committee. So there would be the first three, Affordable Housing, City of Vero Beach Utilities Commission, and Elected Official Oversight are going to be for an alternate assignment, and the Treasure Coast League of Cities is for the full member position.
Okay, because typically we do these things on seniority. Does anybody want to take another committee that's up? I didn't think so. Okay, so we're all pretty busy on committees. So as not to scare Councilman Tedesco, I think election oversight meets only once in a blue moon, and
once a year.
yeah, and sometimes the moon isn't even blue that year. So it's not a taxing thing.
I accept.
Okay, good. So you'll have all of the all the council appointments. We'll turn that into a motion in a second. But I just say I think you're going to.
And don't forget the ceremonial sword that we give them.
Absolutely, the ceremonial sword is a very important thing, especially to bring to League of Cities. League of Cities, I think you'll really enjoy. That's where you interact with the elected officials that are on that council from all the other municipalities and not municipalities, cities, and you'll find it interesting to see the diverse and similar perspectives many of us have on a lot of issues. So I have every confidence that you'll enjoy it. Best part is you're right in time for the annual Okeechobee Barbecue that's held jointly with the Treasure Coast Regional League of Cities and the Treasure Coast Council of Local Governments, which all council people are invited to. So more about that later. Is there a motion? Let's try to simplify the motion. Is there a motion to appoint Mr. Tedesco to all of the vacancies as a result of Councilman Dane's passing?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we'll tell you about the ones we didn't mention after the meeting. All right, item 9A, building official report and statistics.
Mr. Mayor, on the building official and code enforcement and public works, I'll be happy to answer any questions on those. There's some training going on today that had been long scheduled for this week, early in the week. So if there's any questions on any of those three reports or issues, just please let me know. If I can't answer now, I'll get you the answer.
Anything? No? Okay. Things look still pretty busy, for season. So code enforcement, item 9B.
That's the same year.
Okay.
And same for public works.
Just being thorough.
Sorry.
Item 9C, public works.
Just one comment on code enforcement. I'm glad to see we're going after the real estate signs. They had started to populate out. Now I see 23 have been taken out, and shows broken windows. Policing theory works. So
Yeah.
I didn't really see any this weekend. So
Thank you. Yes, and just, so folks know, there is an ordinance that requires neutral content, so it's time, place, and manner of putting those signs up, and we're very pro-business, but we're also pro-aesthetics, and the broken windows issue is right. We don't want signs all the way up and down A1A, and so, when somebody's putting oversized signs or those giant characters with their arms floating, that's not Indian River Shores, so we won't allow that. Item 9D, Town Treasurer Report.
Good morning. You've all received my report. The only thing I have to report on that's above and beyond is we will be presenting our financial statements at the March 3rd Finance Committee. That's tentatively scheduled, and it should be presented to you at the March 26th meeting.
So that's the audit for the previous fiscal year, not
September
3
30th,
years back
2025.
like some other people did. Okay, great.
Everything going along okay, though? We're,
Yeah.
all
I'm
right,
not
thank
aware
you.
of any comments or anything.
Thank you very much. We're always good to hear it. And, thank you for the periodic reports, just so the public knows, our most sacred trust is being good stewards of your funds. And we are, I'm going to use the word blessed. We're blessed to have a treasurer and a staff that routinely provides us with financial reports that are not just thorough and comprehensive, but that are readable even by a lawyer. So, it's very comforting to know that we get these updates on a frequent basis, and the public's entitled to see them, and they're public records. But we're blessed to have that amount of reporting in our town. So, thank you very much for that. Is there anything else for our town treasurer? Okay. Public Safety Department Chief. Deputy Chief.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, Mr.
Morning.
Vice Mayor, members of council. Edward Ryer, Assistant Chief on behalf of Chief Stone and the Public Safety Department. The only thing I have to add to the report, today the new fire engine will be delivered to the department, and tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. there is a February 18th, there's what's called a push-in ceremony for the new engine. It's open to everyone, all members of the community. In addition to that, we recently had 4 AEDs donated by a group of business leaders in the community, so a huge thank you for that. And they'll be replacing 4 that are at the end of life in some of our patrol vehicles, police patrol vehicles.
Just a question.
Yes, sir.
My understanding is that we stopped using the contaminant firefighting foam back in 2022, 2023. Is that right?
That's correct. The entire market shifted away from that.
Thanks.
Just one thing for the push-in ceremony. I think the Vice Mayor was wondering why we bought a fire engine that we actually have to push instead of one with an engine. So.
I believe it's a figure of speech. It's not actually. So it'll be open for everyone to take a look at.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, while the Assistant Chief is here, I know you had noted earlier the issues with the gas main break and the tree. While he's here, I'd like to have Assistant Chief Ryer address that, because our public safety personnel were obviously very much involved. As to the first one, there was a construction company working, and they broke a gas main. And Assistant Chief Ryer, if you want to follow up from there, at least in terms of what the town did and what it looked like.
By all means, thank you.
Absolutely. So I received a text message on Friday. I was out for the day. Around 12:33 in the afternoon, apparently the construction work that was going out on A1A in the roughly the 5800 block near the Fountains development, they struck a gas main. And north and southbound lanes were shut down. Florida City and City Gas was on scene relatively quickly. And I believe it took about 30 minutes before they got it capped and we had traffic moving again. And then Sunday, I'm off because of the holiday, we received a call that a tree had fallen down on A1A and it took out a fire hydrant. It knocked it over, which created that to flood A1A. Water needed to be shut down. Traffic needed to be shut down for a little bit to alleviate the flooding. They got the hydrant shut off. And then Vero City Utilities came out. They were on scene for a couple hours. It took a couple hours to restore water to a couple of the communities. That was down in the 5100 block near Ocean Drive Plastic Surgery.
All right, thank you very much. Just one item that occurred to me while I was sitting here too. We're still under a burn ban, right? I mean, we don't do a lot of that here, but if anybody has, an inkling to go out in their backyard and set a fire, or be careful with your barbecues and things like that, correct?
So as a matter of fact, Mr. Mayor, while I was sitting here at 10:05, I received an alert from Indian River County. We are under a burn ban. All outdoor fires and burning are prohibited unless permitted by Florida Forestry Service. However, cooking food exclusively within a gas or charcoal grill is authorized.
I have a question.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
So how was the town notified on the gas leak?
So I was notified by, obviously, our patrol officers that were on duty were the first ones to get the call. We went out there. We had, most of the shift was out there because we had traffic problems. So they were out there alleviating.
Well, but how did Florida City Gas notify us?
They let dispatch know to get them out once they realize it's a gas leak.
Great, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Anything else for Assistant Chief Ryer? No? Thank you for everything you and your department does.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Mr. Mayor.
Town Attorney report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Not a lot to report, but I do want to have a very brief update on the legislative session. We've talked about a little bit. So the session started on January 13th. It's the early session year. As we know, it moves back and forth, which means that as we sit here February 17th, we are more than halfway through. The last day of the session is March 13th. And probably of most important note is the number of bills that have been introduced this session, according to floridasenate.gov, 1,859 bills. Now that's across the board. That's everything from the budget down to, of all of those, 26 have passed both houses halfway through. And virtually all of those are a version of recognizing a day, the Space Shuttle Challenger Remembrance Day, St. Johns County Day, Space Day, New College Day, etc. So less than 1%, or virtually 1%, have gone through, which leads me to the second part. The only requirement for every legislative session is the budget be passed. That's required to be provided to the governor 3 days before, so they have a cooling off period. Both budgets were presented at the end of last week, and as we stand now, the governor introduced his budget, $117.5 billion back in January. The House has proposed $113.5 billion, so $4 billion less, and the Senate is in between at $115 billion. The fact that the two houses are $1 billion apart historically leads to there's going to be a lot of discussion over the next 4 weeks on that. That's their primary concern. I mention all of that because, again, this time last year we saw probably a lot more movement on a lot more issues being presented. It's just simply not happening. So I will continue to monitor, continue to stay in touch with colleagues throughout the state on if something gains momentum, it can happen very quickly. But right now, the fundamental focus appears to be on the budget over the next 3 to 4 weeks. So that's my report. I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Anything for the Town Attorney? Yes, Councilman Altieri.
Pete, can you just give us a quick flyover on this status of legislation relating to the property tax?
Yes, it's dead. As we speak right now, it has virtually no momentum. Of the several proposals that began the session, none of them have passed both houses, and you can sort of see the difference in the funding approaches on maybe a couple items when the budget comes out to show you that property tax, being as big as it is, and the primary revenue for almost all local governments, just not getting it. One of the things is DeSantis, the governor, had proposed $62 million for the Florida State Guard for next year. The House proposed nothing, and the Senate proposed almost $34 million. So my point being, if something in that finite a space with the Florida State Guard is not getting anywhere and is that far apart, I have not heard any, and I have not had any conversations with anybody on these budget property tax reform proposals. They just simply, the last I heard is it's every expectation there will be at least one, if not multiple special sessions later going into summer. So I will just continue to monitor it, and if I hear anything gaining traction, I certainly will spread the word.
So it's a loss of momentum, but it's not,
Nothing's dead.
the concept is not dead and done.
It just, keep in mind, has to pass both houses and get to the governor and get his signature unless it comes back for a override veto vote. A lot of hurdles. So with that, I'm happy to answer any other questions, and if offline, please contact me.
Anything for Town Attorney? In front of all these witnesses, I'm handing you the collection of water utility bills so you can have fun nighttime reading.
Thank you.
All right, so Town Manager report, Mr. Harpring.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. I'm going to start out with a very brief turtle nesting season update. Just want everybody to be aware and remember that our sea turtle nesting season begins March 1st and ends October 31st of each year. As a general proposition, that March 1st timeframe will result in a stoppage of all work on the dunes and areas like that, whether they're dune walkovers, but for some very narrow permitting that would have to be issued by DEP. So these are some of the sea turtles that we see in our community, the leatherback, the loggerhead, and the green. And as an aside, we've had very good numbers, as you may recall, from previous presentations from Quentin Bergman. Very, very good numbers here in the community. So the lighting is a very important thing here. So artificial lights seen from the beach do confuse the baby turtles from finding the ocean when they do hatch. Exterior amber or red lights have little or no impact on baby turtles, and this is the one way that oceanfront property owners can assist in the recovery. So this is just a very brief example for those that are scientifically challenged like myself. Red X bad, green check good. So next one. This is an example of the lighting surveys that we do. We'll have 3 that are conducted this year. The first one will be completed no later than March 15th. The next one's going to be done between April and May, and then the final one in July and August. We've had very, very good responses in our community once we provide the initial notifications about the sea turtle lighting. People are very responsive, and we see drastic decreases in any violations or any actions that we have to take. Then general prohibitions per our town ordinance, Fish and Wildlife and Florida statutes are no exterior point source of light shall be directly visible from ground level on any area of the beach. No light shall directly illuminate any area of the beach seaward of the primary dune. Of course, we have the prohibition on motorized vehicles except in cases of emergency or as otherwise approved, and horseback riding and campfire prohibitions. This is a mailing that we send out. It's our sea turtle nesting season notice. It contains a lot of very important information for homeowners and otherwise, but I think conceptually when we're thinking about lighting, one of the biggest things is these FWC3 golden rules is to keep it low, and when you see this type of lighting, those are good things. And then keep it long, and that has to do with the wavelength of the light. That's why the amber and red are better. And then finally, keep it shielded when you have the covers around them. It avoids the diffuse light that can confuse the baby sea turtles. So with that, just please be aware that we're going to be conducting some of those, and if you get a notice or you have any questions about it, just please feel free to contact my office or our code enforcement officer, Jake Mykrantz, who does the work on this. And again, just want to commend our beachfront and other residents who are very, very tuned into this, and the education that we've done the last couple of years has been very, very helpful.
All right, anything for the town manager from council?
Just a couple more things, Mr. Mayor.
You have a couple more things?
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
Apologies, I thought you were wrapping it up.
Well, we can hope to dream. Just a very brief note on a proclamation that I just looked for consensus for from the Council, Flood Awareness Week in Indian River Shores, March 9th. Well, it's kind of a misnomer. It's not a week. It's more like 10 days, the 9th through the 19th. But we do have a lot of awareness programs that'll go out for flood. And as you know, we're doing an adaptation plan for the vulnerability assessments, which deals with flooding on both sides. So absent any objection, we'll publicize our proclamation of the Flood Awareness Week in Indian River Shores.
Any objection to being aware about floods? Okay. I think we're all set on that, so.
I just wanted to circle back, Mr. Mayor, very briefly about on your topic related to offshore work. About 3 years ago, I had some conversations with a group at University of Miami who was conducting studies, and you may be aware of it because I know we talked about it, and I'm not sure who else may be, but we weren't able to get the hook into them to come up here. But they were looking at large-scale programs primarily directed initially at locations where there were military bases or sensitive government installations. Cocoa Beach, Patrick, areas on the West Coast. That is still going on, though it took a little time to get those things moving. I'm going to look back into it again. A lot of it had to do with the bottom contour and what could or could not be done, as opposed to what was or was not particularly approved at the time. But to your point, I just wanted to mention that is out there, and we will continue to look at that in relation to that St. Lucie project as well, and see what happens there. Two things. Finally, I would like to note that very shortly you'll be seeing dune plantings happen at the end of Beachcomber Lane. That's consistent with all of the types of plantings that Indian River County does to preserve their dunes and protect their dune walkovers. We've coordinated with the vendor for Indian River County that does all the plantings. They will be completely consistent with all the plantings that Indian River County did throughout Sector 4 and Sector 5. Finally, I would like to emphasize and make sure that anyone listening, anyone here, and council, if you're available, please come to the push-in ceremony. It's very, it's a meaningful and important thing for our public safety department and our service, and we again appreciate what they do. So we hope to see anyone that's available there for that. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
And that is tomorrow, 10:30?
Yes, sir. Right out front, Public Safety Department at 10:30.
All right, terrific, thank you. Now you're done, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Yeah, and just to, beat this dead horse a little bit more, I know you'll be in contact with your counterpart at the County of St. Lucie just to see what, what's up on that. And
yes.
If there's anything I can do to facilitate by talking to the commissioners, I'm happy to do it. But
will do.
Okay, thank you. All right. Next up is first of all, any questions for the town manager? No. Okay. Call for committee reports. You don't have anything yet, although you will next month. Anything?
I didn't go to the utilities committee because I knew my alternate would go.
Good point.
Actually, welcome back, and glad to hear you're recovering from.
Thanks.
My only council from the last time here, my only meeting was the Treasure Coast Council of Local Governments, and other than reminding everybody, we have to pay our dues, which I know you've got underway, and I'm kidding, don't worry. There was what I thought was an incredibly informative and interesting presentation about calling them plans for the airport expansion in St. Lucie. It really isn't plans. These things are underway, and there's going to be a fairly large extension of the runway, which will accommodate much larger commercial and passenger aircraft. The phrase game changer was tossed around a lot, not just because of the runway, but because of the development of supporting services for aircrafts, and pretty much indicated to me that there's going to be more commercial flights likely coming in and out of St. Lucie in the upcoming years, which those of you who travel back and forth may appreciate the expanded schedule. The number that stuck in my mind was the airport currently generates about $550 million in direct economic impact. That's now, before they even undertake this program. So the long and the short of it is they're expanding the capacity to accommodate aircraft. They're going to expand the capacity for private aircraft. They have a very, very large footprint for anybody who's been down there, and plenty of room to develop it. They're going to expand the passenger terminal, and they also have customs already there. So, they have the direct capacity for international flights to seamlessly do it. So, haven't heard much from the City of Vero Beach Airport Authority, whether or not, they consider it, I hate to use the word threat, but is it a competitive threat to them? There's going to be a lot of amenities in St. Lucie Airport in the upcoming years that will, I think, be attractive not just to passengers but to the businesses that flock there. The town manager is going to undertake it. We've already approved his ability to go out and shop for health insurance not to exceed 15%, I believe it was, of last year's cost. A lot of the municipalities, and in particular the school boards, are getting sticker shock on the amount of the cost of health insurance. So there are 2 points I want to make. First of all, thank you for being, as diligent shopping this around as we can, without patting ourselves on the back, because kind of who we are and our demographic assists us in having lower premiums. But some municipalities and organizations are looking for 200 to 250% increases in healthcare premiums. So somebody's going to have to pay for that, either taxpayers or the employees. So that's about it for that. And we'll be interested to hear back how you do on your shopping around our employee health program. So, all right. That's it for my report. Vice Mayor.
One thing I forgot to mention in councilman items is I do this updated spreadsheet with the help of our town treasurer, Heather, and that is I look at the assessed property values that are in the 5 municipalities in the unincorporated county and compare that to the population of each. And I think it's, it's interesting just to see how this is broken out. So Indian River Shores, the assessed property taxable value, so that's directly linked to the property tax we pay because it takes into account homesteading and things of that nature, is $5.8 billion. That's 18.1% of the total property value in the entire county, 18.1. We only have 2.6 of the population. Vero Beach has 15.4% of the assessed property, and they have 10.3% of the population. So, maybe we can put this someplace up on the website or something. The point is, and I call this spreadsheet punching above our weight. Occasionally, more than occasionally, we're sort of ignored in this county, but we're really important in terms of the value generated to support not only our services, but the counties as well. So just want to mention that. The other thing in terms of meetings, there was an MPO meeting that stands for Metropolitan Planning Organization. That's essentially a transportation planning board for the county. Every county has to have one of them in order to get federal highway aid money. And that board sets the priorities for large projects. And we approve those, and they really haven't changed very much over the last couple of years. 45th Street through Gifford, we're doing some improvements there, but the really big ones is Route 510, which is important to our community because it helps us get out of here in the event of an evacuation for whatever reason. So that's the next priority, but still we're probably looking at 2030. That'll be 2 full lanes in each direction going through the Wabasso and also a bridge of 510 over US 1, so that will facilitate traffic. In addition, what they're going to do at 66th Avenue, where there's currently a light and the traffic stacks up, they're going to create a roundabout. So if you lose power, cars will be able to continue to move. Unfortunately, it's going to take a long time to get done. And then there's various other ones. The other thing I just want to mention to you is if you ride the GO line, that is subsidized by us as taxpayers. We get a lot of money for that from the federal government and the state government. So as a result, there's no fares on that. Back in 2001, the total ridership was about 150,000. It got up to, just before COVID, up to 1.2 million. And if you look across the country in different transit systems, many of them have not recovered their ridership since COVID and the pandemic. That is not true here. So I mentioned that it was just in 2019, it got up to 1.2 million, it dropped, but now it's up approaching over 1.5 million. The advantage to us is that it does take a reasonable number of cars off the road. It helps people get to their jobs, so it helps employment and so forth. So I just wanted to bring that to people's attention. So that's it for me.
Well, thank you, Vice Mayor.
Nothing to report.
Nothing? All right, thank you. One question, and it was funny. You go to a party and over the weekend, and you get the same question asked by two different people, and you wonder were they in collusion or not. But the crosswalk up by the on A1A, just across from the church, it's not in our jurisdiction, and I always pointed that out. The lights were knocked over during the tornado. Are they coming back? People want to know. One was in favor, one was against it.
Well, apparently Vero Beach, you know, that's up to them to go have a conversation with FDOT. I don't know of those of you driving along Beachland Boulevard when you make the right-hand turn coming southbound on A1A. For probably 3 or 4 months afterwards, the school zone lights were down. It took me making a phone call to FDOT, and they said, "My God, I didn't realize they were there. They were down, and they were up within 2 weeks." So they have to get off of what to do it, and
Okay.
and I.
So
They have a member of they actually had 2 members of the MPO that could help out as well as our County Commissioner Laura Moss lives in that area very closely, and apparently none of them feel it's important enough to do anything about.
all right, thank you. So it's not an MPO issue, it's a local issue, just asking for it to be reinstalled.
Yeah, but you do it as an MPO member, it tends to get more weight. So just like the crosswalk, I want to get down above 7-Eleven to go across to the beach access, which FDOT has promised me it'll be done hopefully by the end of the year. Being on the MPO helps, just not a random council person calling.
Understood. Thank you very much. All right. Call to audience. This is the time for audience members to talk about things on their mind. Absolutely. Just please state your name and where you live. Generally, you don't have to give your
Yes,
exact address, but
Good morning, Mayor, council members, and staff. My name is Cindy Diamond. I reside at 4865 Coventry Court in Vero Beach, Florida. I'm here on the behalf of residents across Indian River County who support implementing trap, neuter, vaccinate for rabies, return, or TMVR for community cats. And also, ultimately, to get a letter of support from you to send to the county commissioners. TNVR is the most effective method in managing the community cat/feral population. Without this program, these outdoor cats will continue to breed to capacity. I want to focus on what TNVR means for Indian River County as a whole, because this is not just an animal issue, it's a public policy and fiscal issue. TNVR will address community issues and save the county money. The nuisance behaviors residents complain about, mating, fighting, spraying, and kittens being born, will decrease dramatically. Communities that implement TNVR consistently see reductions in shelter intake, euthanasia, and field call services, which translate directly into savings for the local government. Studies show that TNVR is less expensive than euthanasia. Catching, housing, and euthanizing cats requires staff time, equipment, shelter space, and medical resources. And importantly, we are not asking the county or cities to fund this program. We have applied for nonprofit status to build a donation-based model. We have our veterinary partners lined up and ready to participate. TNVR addresses the root of the problem instead of reacting to it. Right now, the primary response to community cats is to trap and euthanize. Decades of data show that the catch and kill does not solve the problem. When cats are removed, new cats quickly move in to use the same food sources and shelter. This is called the vacuum effect. And it is why catch and kill programs across the country have failed to reduce populations long term. TNVR is not experimental. There are numerous documented national studies and data from adjacent counties that show population decreases over time in addition to cat intakes at shelters decreasing. It is supported by animal welfare professionals, including the nationwide organization NACA, which stands for National Animal Care and Control Association, Florida Animal Control, and even the American Bar Association. Residents want this program. Without TNVR, the population grows. With TNVR, the community becomes part of the solution. Indian River County is currently the only county on the east coast of Florida where TNVR is not permitted, while neighboring counties have embraced it because it works. We have letters of support from all the other towns and cities of Indian River County, including the town of Orchid. We have the plan, we have the partners, and we have the community behind us. What we are asking for is your support so this program can operate legally and responsibly. Thank you for your time and your service to the community.
Thank you very much. I normally don't comment on comments from the audience, but, I did see the town of Orchid submitted a letter, and we're in a similar situation. We really don't have a feral cat population problem, but my recommendation would be to circulate that letter to members of council that haven't seen it. I'm fine sending the letter off in a similar way to the town of Orchid, that we support the initiative. You hit 2 points for me. No taxpayer monies expended.
Exactly.
The problem will continue if, the vacuum. There was some question in my mind whether or not, by returning the animals back to the environment, do we just, neuter them and put them back in the space? But apparently that's been thought through by people smarter than us on this issue. So I would just encourage my fellow council members to take a look at what Orchid did, and if there's no objection, we'll just send out a letter similar to the letter Mayor Gibbons sent. If there is objection or question, we can put it on the agenda to talk about as an action item. But I'm confident after looking at it, we'll have unanimity on sending this letter out. So thank you for the work that you're doing.
I appreciate your support
Yep.
to the Indian River County. These are pamphlets for you.
I'm not adopting any cats. I'm just saying. All right.
Thank you for your support.
Stopping these cats or slowing down the feral cats would have a positive impact on the bird population. This
Exactly.
really gets destroyed. So, I'm all in favor of it.
It benefits everyone.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else have a comment? No comments? All right. Thank you. We are adjourned until the March meeting. Thank you, everyone.